Good morning. Good morning, all of you. So, today we will start about the your curriculum and which subject I will be teach you in this semester, and the content is covered in this subjects. We'll discuss the basic and the basic description and the introduction part and the objective and the learning outcome. So, So the subject is renewable and non-conventional energy, which will teach by me in this semester. Okay, and the course code is EE704D, and course credit is 3. So you can see here there are the several modules in this subject, and the first module is related to the introductory part and the introduction to the energy sources. Introduction to the energy sources, and in this module, in this unit, we will discuss about the renewable and non-renewable energy and the difference between the renewable and non-renewable energy consumption, the per capita energy consumption, and the energy consumption is country wise, in India, an energy scenario in India, or the global scenario, global energy scenario, and the prospectus of the renewable energy sources, and the impact of renewable energy generation on the environment, and the Kyoto Protocol, which is given by the United Nations. Okay, so we will discuss about the basic concept about the all renewable sources in the introductory part. In the second unit and the second module cover the solar energy, which cover the solar physics. In the solar physics, we will study about the solar radiation, beam, diffuse radiation, types of the radiation, and different types of the constant, and Earth sun angle, or the solar time, derived solar angle, and different types of the collector which is used for the collecting the solar energy, and different types of the PV modules and the PV cells, and their constructional view and operation view. In the third unit, we will discuss about the wind energy and the basic principle of the wind energy conversion, basic component of the wind energy consumption. And here is the most important part, is the basic component of the wind energy conversion, which include the windmill component like the generator, blades, and the wind tower, wind data, and the selection criteria to set up the wind energy plant. In the fourth unit, we will discuss about the energy from biomass. Energy from the biomass, and what is the exact definition of the biomass, and the biogas generation plant classification, their advantage, disadvantage, constructional point of view, site selection, and digester design consideration, and such type of the Pragati Maidan and Deen Bandhu type biomass design. We will discuss about the Pragati Maidan, and we differentiate the Pragati Maidan design to the Deen Bandhu biomass design. And then we will discuss about the unit 5 in geothermal energy. The geo and thermal, there are two words, geo and thermal. Geo represent the geographical or the earth crust, and the thermal is represent the heat energy. So, in the geothermal energy, we will discuss about the introductory part, the basic definition, and the nature of geothermal, and geopressure, hot, dry rocks, magma, and the advantage, disadvantage, and the application of the geothermal energy, prospectus of the geothermal energy in India. So, in the unit 6, we will discuss about the energy from ocean. The ocean energy include the tidal energy. You can say it's the tidal energy, the ocean thermal electric conversion (OTEC) systems, open loop, closed loop cycle, hybrid cycle, and the scope in the India or the worldwide. We will discuss about the advantage, limitations, and scope of the tidal energy, wave energy and power from the wave energy conversion devices, and also the advantage and disadvantage of the wave energy. In the unit 7, we will discuss about the magneto-hydrodynamic power generation, which is also called the MHD power generation, So we will discuss about the basic principle of the MSG generation, MSG system, basic development of the MSG, operation, constructional view, and the future prospectus, and the material used for the MSG generators. So unit 8, we will discuss about the hydrogen energy. In the hydrogen energy, in the introductory part, hydrogen cells, hydrogen transportation, utilization of hydrogen gas, and hydrogen as alternative fuel for the vehicle. It's the most important part during these days. The hydrogen is used as a used as a fuel in the vehicles. So, in the last but not the least, in the unit 9, we will discuss about the fuel cell. The fuel cell, the introductory part, design principle and operation of fuel cell, types of the fuel cells, conversion efficiency of fuel cells, and application of the fuel cells will be discussed further. So you can refer the textbook for the same, the GDRI and non-conventional energy sources, the Khanna publisher, and you can also refer the Ashok VDSI, the New Age International Publisher. So these are the contents which will be covered in the future lectures, in the upcoming lectures. So now we will discuss about the we will transfer to the unit 1. We will discuss about the introductory part of the energy sources and the types of the energy sources, their definitions, and the how which will the which sources is called the renewable energy, and which is called the non-renewable energy sources. So we will transform these type of such energy. So we will start from the source of the energy. Source of the energy. So energy. The first of all, what is energy? The first question is arise from your side. The what is energy? So we can define the energy. The energy is the capacity of a physical system to perform the work. The energy exists in several forms such as the heat, kinetic or mechanical energy, light and potential energy, electrical or other forms. So you all know aware about the energy conservation law. Energy neither created nor destroyed. The another form. Okay. So, for example, you can use the solar energy, solar heat energy, and transform into the electrical energy. So, by using the PV cells. So, it's and this is an example. This is a simple example for transformation of the energy. Source of energy. There are two sources of energy: conventional energy sources, and the other one is the renewable energy sources. So, first we will discuss about the conventional energy sources. So, the term conventional means. What is the meaning of conventional? Conventional meaning is not usual or extreme or ordinary. Okay. Conventional का मतलब ये है which is you can say that the conventional meaning the old and which is not usual, not unusual or extreme or ordinary, which is called the conventional, which is not in the nature in the abundant form in the nature, which is not in abundant form in the nature. So it is called the conventional energy. The conventional energy is also called the traditional energy. The conventional energy sources are the traditional sources of energy like coal and petroleum. And the coal and petroleum is the example of the conventional energy, which is limited in the nature, which is not in abundant form abundant form in of energy. So conventional energy sources are finite, which is not infinite, which is finite, and they will not last forever. They will not last forever. So there are many definitions which define the meaning of conventional. That means not unusual, or extreme, or ordinary, or you can say the traditional sources like coal, petroleum, or you can say which is the finite in the nature, or the last but not the least, they will not last forever. Okay. So the first example is the natural gas. The natural gas in its purest form is pure methane, The natural gas in its purest form is pure methane, but before it is refined, it is also contains varying amount of ethane. But before it is refined, it also contains varying amount of ethane, propane, butane, and carbon dioxide. So, when refined, it is colorless and odorless, but can be burned to release large amount of energy. Okay. So natural gas in natural gas. What is natural gas? Natural gas in its purest form is pure methane, but before it is refined, it is also contains the little amount, you can say the varying amount of ethane, propane, butane, and the carbon dioxide. But after the refined, it only contained the pure methane. Okay, or it's colorless and odorless, है ना? But can be burnt to release the large amount of energy. So it's a source of energy. Natural gas is source of energy, and it's a part of conventional energy sources. So the next example was the coal. The next example is the coal. The coal. What is coal? And how to made it? How to made it? It found in the earth crust. We know that it found in the earth crust and below the earth surface, or you can say the below the earth surface. Okay, so coal release a large amount of energy, so it is included in the source of energies. Okay, it is included in the conventional source of energy. The coal release large amount of energy and it is burned because of density of hydrocarbons in the material. So you can define the coal. तो कोई पूछे आपसे कि कोल कोल कैसे बना, तो you can answer that the what is coal. The coal is the density of hydrocarbons. The density of hydrocarbons is called coal. The density of hydrocarbons is called coal. And coal is formed by dead plants being put under significant pressure and temperature for millions of years. You all know and you aware about that, how it made it. Okay, it made by the hydrocarbons, but how it made? So coal is formed. How is formed? The coal is formed by dead plants being put under significant pressure and temperature for millions of years. बहुत हजारों साल पहले बोलते हैं कि जब जो जो डेड प्लांट्स थे वो जो अर्थ क्रस्ट में या अर्थ सरफेस के नीचे बरीड हो गए थे, दब गए थे, तो एक सिग्निफिकेंट प्रेशर और टेम्परेचर, जब उनके ऊपर एक प्रेशर आया, टेम्परेचर आया, देन इट फॉर्म्ड इन फॉर्म ऑफ कोल, है ना? तो कोल बना कैसे कि डेड प्लांट से बना कोल, और डेड प्लांट को जब बरीड किया गया, बरीड हुए वो जब अर्थ क्रस्ट के नीचे, अर्थ सरफेस के नीचे, और एक सिग्निफिकेंट प्रेशर और टेम्परेचर के कारण वो कोल बना. So there are four grades of coal. You all know about the types. You can say the types of coal. The four grade of coal, four types of coal: the lignite, the bituminous coal, and anthracite. So bitumen coal is the best for releasing energy. Is the most commonly mined type of coal. So in India, the bitumen coal is obvious coal, or you can say it's the India has the source of bitumen coals. Okay, so but the anthracite coal has the large amount of heat energy and the heat factor. Okay, so the next source is the petroleum. सबको पता है कि पेट्रोल कैसे निकाला जाता है. वी कैन ऑल नो अबाउट द पेट्रोलियम. पेट्रोलियम के लिए पहले एक वॉल होता है, पेट्रोल की जो कुएं बनाए जाते हैं, दुबई के अंदर भी देखा होगा ये सब चीज़ आप लोगों ने. तो जब पेट्रोल बना उसके बाद में उसको ये अपनी प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म में नहीं होता, तो इसको क्या करते हैं, रिफाइन करते हैं. सो रिफाइनरी इज यूज फॉर द रिफाइन द पेट्रोलियम इन इट्स प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म. So the petroleum is formed from the compression of animal and plant. So it's a bullet point. It's a bullet point for you that the petroleum is formed from the compression of animal and plant, remains over millions of years. Okay, is it clear? Okay. So petroleum has to be drilled for because it is usually located deep below the Earth's surface. That means the petroleum has to be drilled for because it is usually located deep below the Earth's surface or the Earth's crust, and is then refined to produce a number of different products, including gasoline, heavy fuel oil, diesel fuel, such type of fuel. So refinery to use to refine the petroleum, to refine the petroleum and the change and the produce a number of different products, including the gasoline, heavy fuel, and diesel fuel. So you can see the pictorial view. You can see the drilling rig and the earth crust, and the earth crust has the different layers of the rocks, and the petroleum is far behind, the far below the many of the rocks. Okay, but below the water, but below above the water. Sorry, above the water. So So the conventional energy sources, there are the certain advantages of the conventional energy sources. So the conventional energy sources are proven technologies which can provide energy regardless of the weather condition, unlike solar, wind power, which may go for days out being able to produce substantial amount of power. Currently, the financial costs are much lower than alternative energy sources. So there are two major advantages. The first advantage is that there is no effect of the weather condition on the conventional sources. But if we taking the example of the solar, so if there is a rainy season, if there is a cloudy or the rainy season, then you can see the solar generation is affected. In the raining season, in the cloudy season, you can see the solar generation is affected. But in the case of coal and the petroleum and such type of the sources, the generation is not affected. So first advantage, it gives the continuous power. It gives the continuous power. By using the conventional energy sources, we can get the continuous power regardless the weather condition, or in the unlike the solar or wind power. And the second so and the second the advantage is the financial cost. The financial cost, or you can say the energy cost, is much lower than the alternative energy sources. The energy cost in the case of the thermal or in the case of the solar, so the you found that the energy cost in the case of the thermal is much lesser than the solar, because there are so much installation cost and transport cost in the case of the solar, and the uncertainty factors in the case of solar. So the unit charge, the energy cost is higher than the thermal. So there are two main advantages. There is no effect of the weather condition on the conventional energy sources. You can say these are the continuous energy sources. And the second one is the financial costs are much lower than alternative energy sources. So the conventional energy sources, there are the few disadvantages of the conventional energy sources. The most the most in the limelight disadvantage is that the pollution. The petroleum, gas, and coal are non-renewable energy sources, which means that they will eventually run out. That means we will discuss about the first disadvantage, that the petroleum, gas, and coal are non-renewable energy sources, which means that they will eventually run out. That means they are finite in the nature. They are finite in the nature. They are not in the abundant form in the nature. They are not in the abundant form in the nature. So they are not in the abundant form in the nature. The second The second disadvantage is the greenhouse effect. The second disadvantage is the greenhouse effect. The second disadvantage is the greenhouse effect. You all know about the greenhouse effect and the impact of the greenhouse effect. These energy sources also release the greenhouse gases like the carbon dioxide. The main pollutant is the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which contribute to the global warming. Which contribute to the global warming. The other pollutant release include the sulfur and the nitrogen oxide, which can lead to the acid rain, and mercury, which is harmful to the human when ingested. So we have discussed about the conventional sources, their advantage and disadvantage. So thank you for this lecture, and now we are leaving this meeting.